bincang-bincang apa. Kamu buat semua.
Nggak boleh jawan waktu itu.
Oh, ini kan kami sekarang.
Kamu udah?
Kami produksiannya saja seni. Tapi ada kuliah, kamu tidak.
Itu yang pakaian.
Kita bilang seni ya, jangan apa ya.
Eren juga bos tuh. Eren juga bos tuh.
Dia ada koneksi sendiri.
Padahal yang pandai teknikal orang nih tuh. Ini yang dipanggil ada.
Burung apa sih cerita burung? Ya, jadi aku mau transfer sudah. Dia mau 3 tahun aku sudah.
Kurang sarang lagi terus. Ini bisnis juga nih apa buatnya? Saya mau. Makanya betul pakai jam.
Burung macam. Sudah jadi. Lanjut.
Welcome back to the second session of the day. Untuk pembekalan yang seterusnya dengan tajuk Projek Alamat untuk Semua Geocoded bagi Negeri Sabah, Majlis ingin menjemput Encik Muhammad Shah bin Muhammad Zahir, Pos Malaysia Berhad. Dengan segala hormatnya mempersilakan.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam sejahtera, salam perpaduan. Saudari pengacara majlis yang berhormat, Yang Berhadi Datuk Seri Pangkat Madius Tangau, Timbalan Ketua Menteri Sabah, Yang berbahagia Datuk Haji Minggu Haji Jumat, Pengarah Jabatan Perkhidmatan Komputer Negeri Sabah, CIO Agensi Kerajaan Negeri Sabah, Ketua-ketua jabatan dan seterusnya. Semua dihormat dan jemputan yang saya muliakan sekarang. Alhamdulillah, marilah kita sama bersyukur dengan lipat izinnya dalam majlis ini. Kita dapat bertemu dalam majlis persidangan Ketua Pegawai Maklumat CIO bagi peringkat negeri Sabah pada tahun 2018. Bagi pihak Pos Malaysia, izinkan saya untuk mengambil kesempatan untuk merabakan setinggi terima kasih dan atas jemputan yang diberikan kepada pihak kami. Okey. Kemudian izinkan saya menyampaikan ceramah ini dalam bahasa Malaysia dan juga secara santai supaya lebih dekat dengan tuan-tuan semua ya. Okey, sedikit pengenalan projek alamat semua untuk geocoded bagi negeri Sabah ataupun kami kenali sebagai AFA, dalam Englishnya Address for All. Di mana seperti mana tuan-tuan maklum, saya amat berbangga dengan pengalaman yang diberikan, di mana dengan projek Address for All ni kami telah pergi ke gunung, hutan, sungai, semua tempat di Sabah ni, dan dapat berkenalan dengan semua penduduk, ketua-ketua kaum, yang bagi saya amat satu pengalaman yang menakjubkan untuk kami gunakan projek Address for All ni. Okey tuan-tuan, sedikit pengenalan. Sebelum saya teruskan pergi, saya akan sediakan sedikit video untuk sama-sama kita tengok.
Tahukah anda betapa pentingnya bagi seseorang itu mempunyai alamat rumah? Walaupun ia penting, dianggarkan sejumlah 1 juta kediaman di Malaysia masih belum mempunyai alamat. Tanpa alamat yang lengkap, urusan surat menyurat akan menjadi sukar. Lebih-lebih lagi apabila berlakunya kes-kes kecemasan yang melibatkan nyawa. Tanpa alamat, urus niaga e-dagang juga akan menjadi sukar. Alamat sangat penting dalam kehidupan yang serba-serbinya kian digital. Bagi memastikan rakyat di negara ini sedia menghadapi era digital, Pos Malaysia Berhad yang disokong oleh Suruhanjaya Komunikasi dan Multimedia Malaysia (MCMC) berusaha untuk memastikan setiap kediaman di negara kita ini mempunyai alamat menerusi program Alamat Untuk Semua. Proses memberi alamat bermula bila kedatangan pos yang terjumpa mana-mana alamat tidak lengkap terus melaporkannya kepada ibu pejabat. Kemudian, unit tindakan khas Pos Malaysia akan pergi ke lokasi yang dimaksudkan bagi mengumpul data secara terperinci. Lokasi tersebut kemudiannya akan ditandakan dalam peta digital. Satu pertemuan dengan penduduk setempat diadakan bagi menjelaskan prosedur dan kepentingan memiliki alamat yang sah lagi lengkap dan seterusnya mendapatkan persetujuan pelaksanaan. Plak nombor rumah dengan format baharu kemudiannya akan dipasang di kediaman atau premis yang terlibat. Plak baharu ini bukan sahaja tertera nombor rumah atau premis, malah disertakan kod QR bagi memudahkan ia dijejaki secara digital. Alamat baharu yang lengkap ini dikemas kini di pangkalan data, sistem informasi alamat. Akhirnya, alamat di pangkalan data, mesin pemprosesan surat dan bungkusan kendalian Pos Malaysia Berhad dikemas kini. Sejak dilancarkan, program Alamat Untuk Semua telah memberi banyak manfaat kepada penduduk. Kini, mereka memiliki alamat yang sah, lengkap, malah boleh dijejaki menerusi sistem GPS dan GIS.
Saya rasa ini satu strategi yang cukup baik oleh pihak kerajaan demi memastikan perjuangan ini diketuai oleh semua tanpa ada yang terkecuali. Saya sangat bersyukur sebab sekarang semuanya jadi lebih mudah.
Saya rasa berat juga tanggungjawab saya selaku pemilik alamat tunggal ni nak simpan surat-surat dari pihak POM tu.
Bila dulu kalau saya nak terima surat, saya terpaksa pergi ke dalam magelang. Kalau nasib baik juga sampai lah, kalau tidak tak sampai lah.
Kalau hilang surat ni, saya pula rasa salah sebab amanah ke saya dah.
Inisiatif ini akan diteruskan ke seluruh Malaysia demi memenuhi keperluan rakyat dan aspirasi ke arah menuju status negara maju. Dalam merapatkan jurang komunikasi dan meningkatkan potensi e-dagang yang akan memperbaiki taraf hidup semua.
Okey, itu sedikit pengenalan berkaitan projek Address for All. Sedikit dalam video tadi, itu adalah pilot projek kami pada tahun 2015 di Kemaman, Dahulu Terengganu. Kalau tuan-tuan tengok di dalam tadi tu, dia cakap bunyi slang G tu kan. Itu memang di Terengganu lah. Ya, makan ikan, ya, itu Terengganu. Baik. Address for All. Dalam tu juga kalau tuan-tuan dalam video tu tuan-tuan tengok, ada lagi di pendalaman kebanyakan surat diletakkan dalam di kedai-kedai, dan juga saya semalam semasa ucapan pembukaan dalam satunya dia kata di Sabah ni akan agensi akan buat e-commerce, akan membuat e-commerce. Sebenarnya alamat ni hubung kait banyak dengan e-commerce. Bila e-commerce ada alamat di mana pun akan sampai dengan cepat. Itu salah satulah portion yang kami dalam video tadi. Okey, address for all, pengenalan. Sebenarnya kami bekerjasama dengan pihak MCMC dan ada dalam satu program yang dipanggil Plan Transformasi Pos Sabah Sarawak fasa 3 2015-2016. Kami bekerjasama dengan pihak MCMC. Address for all ni dalam satu portion kita akan bekerjasama untuk ni. Okey. Address for all. Apa maksud address for all? Address for all senang je. Ialah proses pemberian alamat lengkap pada premi yang tidak bernombor. So kalau saya boleh katakan dalam satu rumah, dalam satu kampung, katakan nombor 1 dipakai oleh dalam 5-6 rumah, ada nombor 1. Ianya tidak memenuhi address for all. Sebab address for all dalam satu kampung nombornya kena unik dan juga ada alamat. Nama paling mudah kita ikut macam Singapura, lagi ringkas dan lengkap, itu sebenarnya lagi cantik. Kita boleh buat nombor 1, katakan kampung Pirasan, Kota Belud, cukup nombor 1. Dan nombor itu adalah unik, tak dikongsi dengan mana-mana rumah nombor yang lain. Itu adalah masuk address for all. Address for all dia bukan saja memudahkan pihak pos Malaysia. Macam kami, saya boleh relate dengan postman. Kalau postman yang lama-lama tu, dia kadang-kadang tak baca pun alamat rumah, dia tengok nama dia dah kenal. Itu yang terjadi sebelum ni. Tapi apa akan jadi kalaunya postman tu naik pangkat, pencen atau bertukar, diganti dengan postman baru. Dia dah tak kenal mana satu nama Haji Ahmad di kampung tersebut. Sebab tu kita perkenalkan address for all, pemberian alamat. Dia sangat memudahkan untuk agensi kerajaan dan swasta untuk mencapai satu presiden itu dengan tepat dan betul. Dan tadi tuan-tuan dah tengok video, saya rasa dah boleh faham sedikit perjalanan address for all ni. Jadi saya terus kepada siapa yang impact, siapa yang memberi kesan. Okey, satu kita tengok kepada rakyat tu sendiri, apa kesan yang dia dapat. Okey, satu, dia dapat alamat tu, nombor rumah dia unik. So dia akan dapat dalam satu kampung, katakan ada 200 premis. So dia akan, selalunya kita akan bagi 1 hingga 200, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sampai 200. So tak akan berkongsi lagi nombor tu, nombor yang sama. Okey, bantuan. So kita tengok dari segi bantuan agensi rakyat sekarang ni, bantuan sara hidup Malaysia ataupun di kerajaan negeri Sabah, saya boleh dengan beasiswa kerajaan negeri Sabah. So bantuan tu terus pergi ke tempat rumah itu. So lagi tepat. Baik. So e-commerce ni sebenarnya di pedalaman sini dah tak ada masalah. Macam kami, satu contoh saya boleh bagi, di Bario ada unik, perniagaan unik macam garam Bario kan. Dia nak pasarkan terus international, so tak ada masalah. Dia ada alamat yang lengkap, dia boleh register di e-commerce portal, dia boleh guna. Okay. Itu impak kepada rakyat. Macam contoh Siti Fatimah binti Hassan, Kampung Pirasan sebelum ni. So kalau ada 5 orang nama yang sama, Siti Fatimah, so bukan saja postman, agensi nak capai memang confused. Tapi bila tempat tu Siti Fatimah, kita letakkan nombor. So kita dah tahu 778 ini memang mana. Dan satu lagi address for all ni dia pakai geocoded. Geocoded ni dia ada longitude, latitude, XY. So memang tepat. So sebenarnya data ni pun dalam bentuk, kalau tuan-tuan dengan GIS, so dia tak ada masalah untuk kita berkongsi. So, okay. Sebenarnya kita tengok pula impak kepada pihak berusaha tempatan. So tapi ini kena slow-slow sikit lah. Sebab pihak berusaha tempatan soalnya hasil cukai, dia tahu apa, nak claim saman apa. Tapi dia meningkatkan kecekapan kepada pihak PBT lah untuk membantu menyeluruh dan setiap premis. So PBT dia boleh menyusun perancangan. So ada peta digitalnya, ada geocode-nya, begitu data. So tak ada masalah untuk dibuat. Dan kita boleh share attribute. Mungkin dalam AFA ni attribute dia hanya sedikit saja. So kita berkongsi, boleh tambah lagi. Kan ada maklumat-maklumat lagi boleh tambah dalam tu. Okay. So maklumat geocode tadi, attribute statement ni boleh diperolehi dalam inisiatif projek AFA. Okay. Impak kepada kerajaan negeri. Macam saya tadi, so bantuan amat mudah. So sekarang ni bantuan sara hidup rakyat, beasiswa, menjaga pasti kedudukan. Dan kerajaan sendiri boleh membuat promosi. Macam saya kata bagi contoh Bario tadi, mungkin di Sabah ni ada perniagaan yang unik. Dan terus juga dengan kami Pos Malaysia, kita boleh bekerjasama dengan produk-produk di Pos Malaysia. Okay. So e-commerce yang saya kata tadi. So sekarang ni ada banyak Lazada, Workshop, mana kalau di China kita ada Alibaba. So penghantaran dan pengguna online menjadi lebih cepat dan mudah. Penduduk di kawasan pedalaman juga menjaga manfaat membeli barang online. So teknologi digital tu maksudnya kita boleh sediakan platform macam sekarang ni web services. Kami dah ada tadi, perlu dikongsi. Dan tuan-tuan kalau ada portal boleh plug in. Macam tuan-tuan nak tahu address all rumah, ya, kita boleh. Okey, ini adalah database kami di Pos Malaysia. Kami anggarkan di Sabah ni ada lagi 150 premis yang masih tak mempunyai alamat yang lengkap. Ini berdasarkan bacaan daripada database Pos Malaysia sendiri lah. Tapi sebenarnya tuan-tuan, pengalaman kami bila pergi buat selalunya lebih. Katakan kami kata di daerah Kota Belud tu, sebelum ni dalam database kami kata estimate 15,000 je. Tapi bila pergi betul-betul jumpa setiap premis semua, sebenarnya ada lebih 22,000 premis yang kami dapat. Dan kami anggarkan sebanyak 26% lagi premis di Sabah yang masih lagi belum mempunyai alamat yang lengkap. Okey tuan-tuan, address for all ni dia mesti ada skop dia. Macam mana kami jalankan, macam mana kami lihat di tempat-tempat itu untuk membuat address for all. Okey. Satu, fokus dia lebih kepada dia mesti ada infrastruktur pos. Maksudnya sama ada dia ada bangunan pos ataupun postman community. Itu dah memenuhi untuk kami buat address for all. Atau pusat internet. Yang di bawah MCMC, pusat internet, dia akan kami tengok. Dan juga dunia strategik lah sebenarnya. Okey, address for all dia tak boleh bergerak sendiri. Macam kami post, kami hanya portion sikit je, kami tak boleh bergerak sendiri. Kami memerlukan majlis tempatan, pihak berkuasa tempatan untuk berkolaborasi. Kami address for all memang tak boleh bergerak sendiri. Okey. Dan juga kami bekerjasama dengan Jabatan Pendaftaran Malaysia, Jabatan Perangkaan. Ini lebih kepada kadang-kadang address for all ni memang susah sebenarnya. Dia nak tukar IC, nak tukar alamat yang sedia ada. Ini juga kami bekerjasama dengan agensi-agensi kerajaan untuk membantu. Okay. Dan last sekali nanti tuan-tuan tengok kami akan berikan postcard. Postcard ni lebih kepada endorsement lah. Alamat ni telah ditukar, memudahkan pemilik-pemilik premis tu dia nak buat penukaran alamat. Dan selalunya pengalaman kami yang kemasannya setahun. Bukannya terus tukar alamat, terus bagi address for all, terus tukar alamat. Tak akan berlaku macam tu. Dan dia ambil masa lah. Kita tahu, kita faham. Kita pergi ke jabatannya tu memang ambil masa. Prosedur pelaksanaan kami, first, kami akan dapat pengumpulan maklumat awal. Ini kami dapat kadang-kadang melalui postman tu sendiri. Postman setempat, dia memang dah tahu tempat tu. So maklumat tu kami ambil. Atau kami ambil maklumat tu daripada pegawai daerah, majlis daerah. Setengah tempat majlis daerah dia ada mempunyai premisan lengkap. Kami guna balik, dia guna pakai, pergi ambil GPS, pergi turun untuk buat geocode dia tempat itu. Kemudian lepas tu ada kad panci, kajian referensi. Dan yang penting sekali, address for all ni persetujuan penduduk tu. Bila kami pergi buat kutipan, kami akan bawa peta. Dan selalunya ketua kaum lah, kami akan ambil endorsement dia. Setuju tak tempat tu ditukar alamat. Dan itu yang kami, masalah tu lah yang kami perlukan kadang-kadang majlis daerah, ketua kaum tu sendiri untuk yakinkan kenapa perlu tukar alamat, kenapa perlu ada alamat. Okay. Kemudian akan berikan pemberian nombor premis. Selalunya pemberian ni kami akan buat macam mana? Kami akan bawa plug tuan-tuan tengok di sampel di hadapan. Kami akan lekatkan di setiap buah rumah secara bergotong royong maksudnya. Selalunya dengan di sini selalunya dengan postman community dan penduduk tempatan. Kita akan lekatkan baik nama. Kemudian dia akan dikemaskan dalam sistem pekanan data alamat Pos Malaysia dan juga peta digital JIS. Kita akan kemaskan ini semua. Mungkin sebelum ni dah ada tapi alamat tu lama. Kita akan update semula. Okay. So next. Kemudian last sekali, sebenarnya Pos Malaysia kami ada machine yang terletak di Shah Alam. Dia terus baca alamat melalui surat, dia akan sorting ke tempat yang betul. Contohnya dia akan baca di Sabah, dia akan sorting ke Sabah, ke daerah Kota Belud, ke kampung tersebut. Dia tak akan jadi lagi baca sikit, salah sorting, pergi ke Kedah, faham. Semuanya mesin, so automated. Semuanya akan dibaca. Kemudian terusnya, lokasi pelaksanaan apa yang telah siap dilaksanakan. Maklumat tersebut kami ada di booth kami. Tuan-tuan boleh tengok kami di backdrop. So ini adalah lokasi yang telah kami laksanakan. So kebanyakannya di Kota Belud lah. Kami hampir mencapai keseluruhan Kota Belud, iaitu sebanyak 22,540 premis. Ini satu kampung. Ada sikit di Sandakan dan juga di Kelingau. Keseluruhan kami dah kutip 27,000 lebih. Ini untuk Sabah saja. Keseluruhan kami kutip sebenarnya di Malaysia ni lebih kurang 103,350 premis sebenarnya. Memang satu kerja yang bukan mudah sebenarnya. Tapi dia, yang macam saya kongsi yang mana, dia pengalaman menarik itu bila kita berjumpa dengan ramai orang yang kebanyakan yang membantu, sangat-sangat membantu. Itu yang cantiknya projek respon. Okay. Kemudian ini sedikit saya share lah aktiviti. Itu saya kata tadi, kami dah pergi di hutan, di sungai, laut, pulau. So inilah kami peta. Kami akan pergi semua. GPS, walaupun di penama kita akan ambil je GPS. Selalunya syarat GPS ni kami akan duduk di hadapan premis pintu premis rumah tu, sedekat yang mungkin, supaya tepat je duduk pada lokasi ni. Okay. Dan juga kita akan lekat di setiap rumah. Setakat ni kami gunakan double tape je. Kebanyakannya penduduk tak bagi paku. Paku rumah dia letak apa kan. Maksudnya kami lekatkan dengan double tape je. Kemudian ini lokasi cadangan. Sebenarnya dari inisiatif MCMC ni, dia akan pergi ke semua sebenarnya. Kita jangkakan dalam tahun 2020 tu, semua alamat di Malaysia ni, rumah tak pernah nombor, semuanya mempunyai alamat yang lengkap. So kita akan bergerak by fasa. So fasa berikutnya ni, kami akan bergerak ke sepertinya Putatan, Pudat, Sandakan, Kelingau, Long Pasir kami dah pergi dah. Cuma nanti nak habiskan dia punya apa-apa dia. So sebenarnya Sabah ni luas pengalaman kami memang luas. Dan bestnya dia punya muka bumi tu berbagai-bagai. So kita dapat merasa semualah. Okay. So kami jangkakanlah dengan inisiatif ni kami akan dapat kumpul lebih lagi 25,000 premis lagi untuk tahun 2018-2019. Okay. Sedikit contoh, ini adalah postcard yang kami akan hantar kepada penduduk. Sudah siap semua, kami akan hantar by postcard sebagai endorsement. Apa alamat yang dia patut gunakan di rumah tersebut. Okay. Dan tanda tangan tersebut punya kami minta tanda tangan pegawai daerah. Dia lagi cantiklah endorsement dia. Okay. Sedikit berkaitan plak AFA ni. So plak AFA ni dia macam tu. Nombor 1 Kampung Pirasan, Kota Belud. Dan dia dikatkan dengan kod QR. Tuan-tuan boleh download apps dekat My Phone apps yang boleh baca kod QR. So dia akan boleh baca. Nanti kalau tuan-tuan nak cuba try, boleh pergi di depan mall kami tu, scan dekat plug. So dia akan keluar maklumat. Setakat ni maklumat yang kami pamerkan hanyalah alamat je. Alamat dan nombor kod unik pada dia. Okay. Next. So kesimpulannya, alamat nampak kecil, tapi sebenarnya memainkan peranan yang penting lah. Sebelum nak kita buat ledakan e-commerce atau apa, alamat mesti stabil. Dan suka cerita saya nak cerita ni, projek AFA ni kami sebenarnya memerlukan komitmen lah. Bukan sekadar post MCMC, tapi semua peringkat, daripada menteri sampailah kepada pemilik premis tu sendiri. Kerjasama tu memang amat penting. Ada penolakan, ada yang mungkin kurang faham, tapi tu normal lah. Cuma kebanyakannya sangat membantu. Dan bila dia diyakinkan oleh ketua dia, memang sepatutnya projek ini dilaksanakan, sebenarnya tak ada masalah. Okay? Itu yang saya boleh share sikit. So kami anggarkan pada tahun 2020 ni, projek ini satu Malaysia sebenarnya. Push-armnya di Sabah, kita akan dapat lengkapkan semua nombor yang tak bernombor premis. Dan kita tumpukan di kawasan pendalaman. Okay. Berikut tu daripada slide saya. Kita buka kepada so kita buka sesi soal jawab. Silakan tuan.
Saya Rashid daripada KPLB. Jadi berkenaan pejabat daerah di bawah agensi kami, kementerian. Kalau boleh kita mohon supaya pihak POS Malaysia ini dapat bekerjasama dengan kementerian kita supaya pejabat-pejabat daerah ini bukan saja memberi kerjasama dari segi memberikan bantuan, tapi kita boleh mungkin mobilize jabatan kuasa dan sebagainya untuk mempermudahkan pergerakan ataupun mungkin pejabat daerah ini saya rasa lebih mahir dari segi memberi bantuan dalam aspek-aspek ini, sebab alamat ini merupakan satu aspek penting dalam perhubungan sekarang, dan juga kalau kita lihat dari segi pinjaman, bank, institusi dan sebagainya memerlukan alamat ini dalam konteks perhubungan. Jadi saya rasa dalam hal ini saya mendesak kepada POS Malaysia untuk menghubungi Kementerian Pembangunan Luar Bandar Sabah untuk kita bagaimana kerjasama untuk mempermudahkan lagi. Sekian, terima kasih.
Terima kasih Tuan. Dan jawapan saya lebih kepada kecil tapak tangan, niru kami tadahkan. Itu sebenarnya yang boleh inilah, supaya sebenarnya kami pun mencari-cari juga. Dan bila dapat slot macam ni memang cantik dan memudahkan kerja sama kedua belah pihak. Kita akan bekerjasama, tim saya akan note benda ni, saya akan jumpa dengan pihak tuan selepas ni. Ada soalan? Ataupun tahu?
Sekiranya tiada apa-apa soalan, kita boleh move on to Kahoot session untuk POS.
Okey, kita balik turutan. So saya akan baca satu. Okey, macam mana nak memohon AFA? Sebenarnya kami bekerjasama dengan pihak MCMC. Tuan-tuan boleh menulis surat kepada pihak MCMC ataupun di sini di Sabah, MCMC Sabah dengan Tuan Mazlan. So daripada situ nanti kami pihak POS akan bekerjasama dengan pihak MCMC. Dan sebenarnya kami dah ada perancangan by fasa tadi tu. Yang saya tunjuk tuan-tuan tadi tu, itu fasa yang kedua. Yang kami akan memulai putatan, pudar macam tu. Okay. Tapi tuan-tuan boleh jumpa dengan MCMC, rujuk pada MCMC Kalau ada ni, okey. Bilakah kawasan kampung di sekitar Kota Kinabalu akan dilaksanakan? Okey, betul. Walaupun kita nampak Kota Kinabalu ni dah bandar, sama juga di KL. KL walaupun bandar, ada setengah tempat tu masih lagi suratnya di kedai ataupun orang panggil call point, masih ada. Kita akan tengok benda tu. Dan kami akan pergi sebenarnya ke sebuah tempat memenuhi syarat skop tadi tu. Kita akan pergi buat semua. Okay? Dan sekali lagi by fasa. Okay? Macam mana kami boleh bantu Postaju Samin dan alamat rumah keluarga kami di kampung? Address for all, memang kalau tuan-tuan buat address for all, secara automatik tuan-tuan akan dapat longitude dan latitude tu. Tak ada masalah. Okay? Nanti mungkin dalam berkaitan pos laju, tuan-tuan boleh rujuklah serahan Sabah. Di belakang tu semua ada abang-abang saya yang boleh membantu tuan-tuan. Okay. Dicadangkan masukkan GPS location di QR code alamat. InsyaAllah kita akan masuk. Dia just sistem saja kan. Kalau tuan-tuan tahu pun, just attribute masuk sebelah-sebelah je. Tak ada masalah. Maklumat ni sebenarnya yang ada. Mungkin keperluan tuan-tuan kami akan tambah. Tak ada masalah. Saya harap saya dapat menjawab soalan tuan-tuan tu. Dan kita sama-sama dapat menjayakan projek Dress for ni dengan lebih jaya. Dan bila dapat saja endorsement dari tuan tadi, saya rasa sangat beruntung lah untuk hadir. Okay.
Terima kasih Cik Manisha. So macam kemarin juga, kita terus ke Kahoot session. Sila masukkan game pin tersebut. Tahniah kepada semua pemenang. Untuk pemenang kedua dan ketiga, kita ada hadiah sagu hati. Dan grand prize boleh claim di Pos Malaysia because kita mau gambar dengan booth mereka kan. So, Vic dan Adriana, sila tampil ke depan. Dan juga Rila, kita mau tengok siapa yang pemenang pertama nih. Terima kasih kepada Encik Muhammad Syabani dan juga pihak Pos Malaysia. Now we move on to our next presenter. He just landed in KK today and have to rush back to KL. From Fusion Next International, please welcome Mr. Stan Lee.
Selamat pagi, good morning. Didn't realize that 2 masters to start, so I have 40 minutes. Thanks for invite. This is definitely not my first time to KK. I like KK a lot, especially the beaches. You know, very very nice. I am not used. Saya memang tak biasa kalau buat ucapan saya just take one place. I like to walk around. If you don't mind, boleh ya, okay. Because I stay obviously. We are from Fusion X International. Walaupun namanya memang international, but we are local company. Okay, so I'll just bring you through very briefly who are we. Fusion X International, we are 14 years old company, 14 tahun. We are the largest big data company in the region. A lot of people do not know. In fact, when we decided to come back to Malaysia again in year 2012, not many people know that orang Malaysia boleh buat big data, because big data biasanya orang putih saja buat kan. You got to be Saleh, you got to speak different slang punya English before you can call yourself big data. But we are very happy to tell you that Malaysia we have a lot of talent. Kita memang ada ramai student atau talent yang pintar, tapi masalahnya we don't know how to appreciate. So these people go outside and do else things. So when we started the company, people do not know what we do. When we talk about analytics, when we talk about intelligence, people look at it, ini kurang pasti lah, manusia apa yang kami buat. So what we did was we actually went out of Malaysia. We actually did very well in US, Europe, and in fact up to last June, we were a listed company in London Stock Exchange. Not many companies in Malaysia can actually list in London Stock Exchange, especially. So at one time, our company, the so-called the market capitalization is about 1.3 billion ringgit Malaysia. So this is a big company. We have 1,003 people globally. Alright. So when we talk about FusionX and big data, a lot of people don't believe that we are Malaysian. 95% of our humans are Malaysian. So I know that you have some university and some institution that talks about academy. This is a very interesting area that we want to talk to you about because we wanted to grow our local talent. We still in our drive to have more data scientists. Whatever that you have listened dari semalam sampai hari ini, nothing other than data. Semua pasal data, kan? Just like what our friend talked about alamat for all. I like the idea. It is still data, the lag and the long. You need to know this data before you can even reach these people. So this is what exactly we do. Right? Big data is a very interesting topic to talk about. Tapi big data topik ni sangat menakutkan. Because dia terlalu besar. Satu, kedua dia bahasa dia biasanya bukan bahasa manusia. Kita pakai bahasa teknologi. So for some of us, we think that this is a bit too far for us. This is what we do. We do machine learning. Pernah dengar machine learning? Pernah? Faham apa tu machine learning? Tak faham tak apa? Just Google sahaja. Alright? Then we have AI, artificial intelligence. Pernah tahu kan? Kalian pernah tengok apa YouTube yang Sophie? Pernah? Robot. I like that part a lot because I guess the technology has gone to the time that those days when we watch Star Wars or Back to the Future, ada bukan? Kalian, I know you are a lot younger than me, but some of us when we watch Back to the Future before, there was this scene that this person he just took one big thing and start to talk. Can you remember the scene? Tak pernah tengok Back to the Future. Come on. Bukan. What's the name of the actor? The Fox guy, right? What he did was he took up the thing and he started to talk to the thing. When I was watching the movie, I was thinking, how is that possible? Ada ke mungkin manusia boleh pakai kotak dan cakap dengan kotak? Alright? Amazing, right? That was like 30 years ago. But today, kalau kalian tak ada kotak, memang tak boleh hidup. I challenge you, if you forget your handphone, you definitely go back and get your handphone. Kalau tak bawa dompet tak apa. Right? Dompet tak ada duit pun tak apa. Handphone kena ada. Lepas handphone ada, power bank mesti ada. Kalau tak memang susah hidup. Alright? So AI is another thing that we do, and AI has gone to the stage that is very, very interesting. Artificial intelligence. In fact, what we are talking now is we call augmented intelligence. Is a combination of manusia dan machine. So machine work with manusia work with machine. We are seeing a very interesting change here. Dulu human work with human, then human work with machine, and then we get the machine to work by itself. Automation lah kan. But now you cannot let machine work by itself. Machine must work with the human must work with the machine. So this is what you call augmented intelligence. Again, kalau kalian nak tahu lebih lanjut mengenai augmented intelligence, just ask Dr. G. Right? Which all of us are very, very good. So we do other activities such as retail, trade facilitation, smart cities, smart payment, travel hospitality, and we work with a lot of government agencies across the world, and especially in Malaysia, we would like to work with government, state agency or federal government agency of Malaysia to talk about how can we drive data-driven governments. Yeah. Okay. These are the list of officers that we have. We have today 17 officers. I guess one of the benefit of this is because we are reaching out, beyond Malaysia. So some of the experience that we share from we learn from other countries can be actually done here in Malaysia too. Yeah. So it's international experience but local implementation. Okay. Some of the mentions that talks about FusionX. some of the standard and also compliance that we have, because you are talking about, and we are talking about data, and we are talking about state-owned data, we are talking about private data, we are talking about national security data. So these are the data definitely need to be secure as much as we could. In fact, I had a chat with my friends. I always say that, most of the government agency have plenty of data, but the challenge is that everywhere. One, second thing, they are not clean, dirty. Third, they are not consolidated. So if you do not have a consolidated, clean, and also complete data, there's nothing much you can make out of it. Our proposal is always, you can have your own big data. State government, you can have your own big data. Every agency can have your own big data as well. Technology today are very, very interesting. Technology are free. Okay? The application, the mobile app that you download are free, right? Most of them are free. So you don't have to pay for technology. What you need to pay for is what you want to use for only. Pay as per use. Pay as per use. You use electricity, you pay electricity. You use water, you pay water. Fair, right? If I ask you to pay me 100 million just to build a data center, you might say, ini kurang waras. Right? This is not the right time. I guess the utility computing or utility services is the right way of moving forward. This is how our office look like. Futuristic ticket, because I'm considered the old one in the office. Our average age group is 35 and below. Right? These are the people that they do not really sleep too well. They don't like to sleep. They like to talk to machine more than talk to human. So they look at computer more than a human. And we have 50 plus data scientists today. Pernah dengar the data scientists? You know, right? Data scientists. If you don't know, doesn't matter. You just go to Dr. G as usual. But data scientists usually are a group of people that are very, very interesting. They have 3 very interesting skills. First, they got to be very good in mathematics and statistics. Mathematics kena kuat lah. Kalau mathematics kira-kira tak pandai, how you want to be a big data scientist, right? Alright, so you have to be very good in mathematics and statistics. Second, you could be so good in computer programming. In average, the type of computer programming languages that sini ada orang technical. I know Kai is one. Other than that, technical, memang technical, None of you are technical. Oh, the Sifu is here. Okay. For the implementation of big data project, usually we need a technical person that need to have at least 15 types of computer languages understanding and know-how. 15. Because there are so many different types of computer languages, You need to understand the Microsoft, you need to understand the IBM, you need to understand the R, the Spark, macam-macam. There are many types of computer programming that you need to understand. Right? Third is that you've got to be so good in the topic that you want to talk about. For example, we call subject matter expert. Once you're in the industry or once you're in a company for 10 or 15 or 20 or 35 years, then you are very good in the topic that you are talking about, then you are a subject matter expert. So big data or big data scientists are the combination of these 3. Is there any possibility one human can know 15 types of computer programming languages and very good? Mungkin tak? Mungkin, tapi sekarang kurang mungkin lah. Alright? Kemudian mungkin, because we have machine, right? Next one, you got to be so good in mathematics and statistics. You got to be a, professor or doctor or whatsoever. That's very difficult. Third, you got to be so good with the topic that you're talking about. How is that possible? So if anybody come and tell you I am the data scientist, that is a scam. Definitely. Because one human cannot be a data scientist. Data scientist is a pool of people that work together, right, to come up with an insight based on the technology, based on the statistics, based on the number, based on the industry know-how to give you a kesimpulan. And that kesimpulan need to be validated. So moving forward, whatever I tell you, I'm going to tell you, okay, this statement is 95% truth. 5% saya tipu. I got to tell you that because big data is about data driven, you got to be statistically number supported. It's not about feeling. Even feeling actually also need to be validated. All right. In fact, how we actually started this office is that, we allow all people to decide what they want to do. So in our office, we have macam-macam. We have a small little kolam in our office. Tak ada ikan, because this gila people say, I need to have some sound of the water before I can work. So kita buatkan satu kolam. Serious, I'm not lying to you. If any one of you have the opportunity to come to KL, let me know. I would like to bring you around. And we have many, many funny things. This one is a serious thing, this is a data center. Some of the awards that we won, some of the awards that we have many, but I would suggest you go to the website and take a look, because there are simply too many. But one thing that I would like to talk about only is that in terms of the project delivery that we have done, we deliver 100% of the project that we actually took up. So that's something that, my boss always understand. Whatever you say, this one you must say. Other thing you don't say, this one you must say. Alright? We never abandon any project. We always complete our project. Okay. Some of our customers globally, we have probably 3,000 customers globally. Some of them Malaysian, definitely, but I guess the benefit here is that we have the wide spectrum of customers that we can actually talk to. Therefore, the experience that we have is very interesting. You have government agency, in fact, Perusahaan Malaysia is one of our customers. Bank Negara is one of our customers. We work with Mampu. Mampu has this initiative called the Open Data Initiative. You aware? Data.gov.my. That's one of the projects that we are actually doing with the federal government. So there are many, many organizations that we're working with. It is an ecosystem. If I want to put it a little bit human, big data is just like you and me. How many of you seen me before or know me before? Tak pernah jumpa muka saya? Tak pernah? Cannot be, I'm quite popular. No, I'm joking. So I would assume most of us never seen me before. Alright? So you only know my name maybe. But do you know before this, right, I was a woman? You wouldn't know, right? If there's a way that you can track, was I a woman before this, that would be interesting, because then you can know what I would like to do. So big data or data-driven government or data-driven initiatives is about understanding the human, just like me and you. If I want to know you, what I need to do? For those yang ada bini, I don't want to talk about. For those yang still single, if you want to go for a girl, what do? First, you try to ask the girl. No way. You are not going to ask the girl. You ask the girl's friends. Nama dia siapa? Apa dia suka makan? Biasa lepak mana? You ask all sorts of questions. Why you want to ask the question? You want to find insight, right? Oh, dia ni memang suka disco. Then I need to, go disco a little bit. Those are the things that you want to understand. So big data is the same thing. Big data is about taking a lot of information from anything, everything, and everywhere that's possible. Try to relate and come up with a conclusion. Okay, wanita ni memang idaman saya. I will go. But the next question we need to ask is, perempuan tu dah ada bini, suami ke belum? Probably that's the next question you want to ask, right? So the more data that we get, the more insight that we get, the more accurate we can make the decision. Am I right? So big data is just like your brain and our brain. Big data actually is a human brain. Just that we human a little bit too smart, up to the extent that we become lazy. So we decided we want to use machine to do the human brain job. That's one. Second thing, machine is also very good because machine never get tired. Machine tak ada emotion. Machine would not say, this morning I wake up, I don't feel like go to work, okay, I take MC lah. Machine would not do that. Because machine very dumb man. You say 1, 1, 2, 2, dia tak ada 1.5 mungkin. Tak ada mungkin. Sama ada atau tidak. Alright? So some of the times that we work here is very much towards that. Coming from the profit entity, any company that we work with, as far as profit is concerned, is very simple. What we want to do is, maybe I just questions. Do you know why are we in business? Do you know why any of your friend in business? Yang ada business sendiri ada? Semua tak ada. Okay, tak apa. I consider tak ada. There are two things that your friend always want to do. First, your friend always want to make money. That's why they are in the business now, right? If your friend cannot make more money, what should they do? Save more money. Kalau tak boleh buat duit, kena jimat duit. Kalau tak boleh buat duit, lepas tu tak boleh jimat duit, what do? You don't do business. Alright? So this is what we do for this company. We help them to make more money by understanding their customer more, by understanding what is the new product they want, by understanding how to sell more, and or we help them to save more money by cutting down the inefficiency, improve the operation efficiency. That's what we do. So in the human language, this is what we do. We help you to make more money or save more money. Alright, technically they are very complicated, which I'm not going to talk to you. You have you heard about this thing, DFPZ? It is still ongoing, with the new government coming up, a lot of interesting project has been revisited. Alright, DFPZ is one of the projects that is still ongoing. Digital free trade zone is something that we actually did with the intention to actually smoother the whole e-commerce or commerce ecosystem. Okay? Kena set ni Kena? Ni Encik Ma. We call them Ma Junior lah. Right? This is my boss. FusionX, we actually power, and FusionX, we manage the DFPZ platform. All the e-commerce transaction between Malaysia and China through this DFPZ is managed by us. It's a government project, it's a government initiative. We call it BFI. Maksudnya, we actually fund the project ourselves, and we manage the project ourselves, and we try to make money, from the project. But definitely we can. So this is a government initiative that will work with both governments, right, for now, to talk about e-commerce and world trading facilitation. EWTP, pernah dengar EWTP? One Belt, One Road? Pernah bukan? Something like that. Again, go to Dr. G, just tell me what EWTP and One Belt, One Road. It's a very interesting business ecosystem that, the country is actually moving forward. So we are managing DFPZ as a platform. So if we can manage DFPZ as a platform for global trade facilitation, we definitely can manage a state trade facilitations. Okay, it's a big topic, smart government. 60% of the population will live in a city by 2030. This is a projection. Not so sure whether it's true or not, but to me actually this is not the real number. Everybody lives in a city, right? Because as long as you are connected, you are in a city. Right? Those say city kampung not connected because telephone tak ada, internet tak ada, TV tak ada. But nowadays most of the people are connected. So I will see 100% of the human actually live in the city. A lot of data every day. So some of the portfolios that we have as far as smart city is concerned, as follow. Again, you don't have to do this, if you want, I can actually send you the slide. You can always go through every one of them. There are many initiatives that we can do as far as smart government is concerned. But usually, what we would like to propose on the pillar to start with smart government or agency is those agencies that collect money. Fee collecting agency. Alright? One of the bigger challenges is always to collect fee, right? So this is what we always start with. Artificial intelligence or augmented intelligence. Right? This is the next thing that we are going to. So I'm not going to do this because it's talk about how to connect human. This is something that I want to spend a bit time. It's about improve the quality of life of the people that we are working with, and through the Internet of Everything. It's not IoT actually. It's called IoT now. Internet of Everything. You know the Tesla car, right? And your fridge can talk to you, right? It would be very nice if, let's say, peti sejuk kamu tiba-tiba send you a message, say, the milk is expiring, go and buy, right? It can be done, right? Definitely can be done. Because the fridge is so smart that whenever you put anything in, they'll scan first, or any daging. They'll tell you when is it expiring, because the daging pack come with a QR code or come with a barcode, and the barcode already told you that when is it being sorted, when is it being produced, when is it being stored, how long it's being stored, and when it will be expired. Everything is doable, it's possible. So what we are building today is for definitely for tomorrow. We have a lot of sensor, mobiles, so this is an ecosystem, I would like to call this, right? More an ecosystem. Open data is very important. open data is very important, like what I mentioned earlier. If the data set that you have or the data that you get, or some partial data, whatever you are actually projecting or predicting is not the correct one. Okay? A lot of pillars. Okay? Not very difficult to find this. You know, I also found this from Dr. G. You can just go there. There are thousands and thousands of information you can get. It's not about what we know. It's about what can you do. Yesterday I was with another government agency. You know, this is one of the statements I told that government agency. I said 30 years ago we were so underdeveloped. Therefore, we have to pay a lot of money to borrow and to buy or to loan technology from a foreigner. Okay? That's why we are still colonized very much, you know, by the white. When they talk, very expensive. When the yellow one talk, right? Today, we are so luxury. We have the luxuries that we have all the technology, we have all the talent in the country. Why are we not using in-country technology? Why are we not using in-country talent? We should. Unless we cannot. But today we can. Right? Our proposal is understand the technology, learn the technology, use it locally. We don't have to outsource, you know, our technology. We don't have to outsource from third party all the time. We have local talent. You know, this is one of the reasons why I want to come here and, you know, have a bit of sharing with you. Is that we have the local technology, we have the local capability, we have the local talent to deliver what we want to deliver. We have. Okay? Alright, I'll just go straight to some of the use cases. Contoh-contoh yang, you know, mungkin make more sense to most of us. Smart traffic light. It can be done definitely. It's not, because it's not very difficult anyway. The smart traffic light, what basically you do is just put a camera, CCTV on top of the traffic light. You can pretty much tell what you want to do already. Okay? Technically speaking, this is how it is. Not very difficult to understand. It's just an application. Some of the let me just go back. So, yeah. Some of the things that you wanted to do is vehicle counting. Takkan you want to station somebody to do the counting? No, right? So what you do is just put a CCTV and do the counting. From there, you can actually look at the total vehicle in queue. From there, you can start to plan. And all these things, instead of going through a very programmatic way of scheduling the traffic light interval, this one can be done quite intelligently. Ada kereta, let it go. Tak ada kereta, you put it kan tak apa. You can put 1 minute pun tak apa, because no car. It's alright. But most of our traffic light system is very, very interestingly smart one. You blink as and when they need to blink, without knowing whether you need to blink or not. Alright? So this is how you can actually do it slightly better and cheaper, because the less you change the color of the bulb, the less you need to change the bulb. It's still money. Right? Okay. Next, we talk about smart parking. Technically speaking, it's not very difficult. In fact, you know, what we are talking about, just you need to have a sensor. As long as you are connected, then you can talk about data collection. In fact, this is what we have been doing here in Malaysia and PJ. They are doing that already. Smart parking. The technology is abundant, available. The only question is, do you want or not? If you want, the next question is, okay, why do I want it? Because of public service or because I can make some money out of it? You should. I'm not asking you to make money, I'm asking you to save some money. Because the more money that we save, the more money that we can actually keep. Yeah? Waste management. It's the same thing. In fact, this is something that we are doing in China. China, a lot of us know China has China is one of the most populated country in the world. Yeah? One of the bigger problems that they face today is actually pollution. One of the cause of pollution is waste management. And Sabah or KK, at least, you know, as one of the tourist destinations, I would assume that this is something that probably you want to look at, because the more tourists come in, means that you have to allocate more resources to clean up the rubbish. But the question is, how do you know? Do you know how many tourists we have here in Malaysia, in Sabah, in KK now? Do you know? How can I know, right? I don't have access to immigration. I don't even know whether these people come here for tour just like this stand, you come in the morning, go back in the afternoon, I don't know. But if you do not know how many tourists come in a day, or in a week, in a month, how do you allocate your resources? So there are questions that you can actually think. You've been doing that for many times, many years. But what we have been using is history. We look at prediction. Last year we have 10 million people come. This year we predict there will be 11 million come because we do a lot of marketing. If 11 million come, we need to do this, do that, do this, do that. All the information that we have are prediction, but no substance, data support. If you can connect to, for example, travel agency. From the travel agency throughout the world, they can tell you how many people is coming to KK today. You can do a better planning, right? But technically speaking, this is definitely doable. Humanly speaking, this is very difficult. How can you talk to 10 of 11 countries in one go? Impossible. This is where the internet comes in. This is where the data comes in. This is where the data exchange comes in. For example, which I'm going to show you later, we do some smart tourism thing with Indonesia. And it's a very sad thing, because we shout and talk about in Malaysia, nobody wants to take. They went to Indonesia, they just take up happily. Maybe because we look foreign to them. So anything foreign, sure better one. Alright? So as far as waste management is concerned, this is what we are doing with some of the states some of the provinces in China. They wanted to know how to manage the waste properly. Because pollution is a big thing. Resources allocation is a huge thing. If you do not know how many people is coming to your area, you do not know how to plan. Yeah? You can optimize the route, you can monitor, analyze, you can notify in advance before the thing over. Macam-macam, you can do a lot of things. Okay? SS2 is DJ Selangor. Something that actually started since 2015. SS2, for those that have been there before, you know why you go there. For those that have never been before, SS2 is a very popular spot for makan-makan. Usually people go to SS2 for makan. When you have a lot of people going there for makan, you also know there are a lot of rubbish. A lot of rubbish meaning a lot of rat. Tikus banyak, cicak banyak, macam-macam banyak. It's very dirty once upon a time. But now, what we are doing is we are trying to clean it up a little bit by understanding how often people throw rubbish. When is the rubbish going to be full? When I'm going to collect the rubbish? So the route management is very interesting. You know when you want to collect. You know when you do not need to go. So your routing is smart routing. Your driver also very smart. Your driver don't have to work every time. Got a notification, then they work. So their pay also based on utilization. Like Grab kan. You don't get paid for just being a Grab driver. You get paid when people go into your car. That's how it works. Yeah? Smart transportation. I actually have a video, but I can't show here because the file is too big. But this is the same thing in China. It's about the pollution. From here, some of the provinces in China, they can actually predict, what is consumption like for the gasoline or the petroleum that they may use. How many cars is going there? What is the so-called CO2 emission of the day, of the hour? Every single thing that you want to know, you can actually know. They can also do a smart routing. This area is traffic is pretty heavy. They want to route through another road. Then you can actually do that as well. This is we call smart maintenance. Most of us drive car, and you always send your car in to any workshop, like after 5,000, 10,000, 15,000, right? But how you drive your car is very different than how I drive my car, even though we are driving the same car. I'll take Kai again as an example. I know he's a very careful driver. So for him, drive the car 20,000 kilometers, go in service, that's still okay. But for me, drive 5,000, go in service, maybe it's gonna overhaul already. Right? Because how we do this is very different. Environment is very different. So predictive maintenance talk about, I tell you which machine, which line, which component going down, what time. And this is what we do here again, right? In Malaysia. So that's why I'm saying that we have the technology, we have the know-how, we have the capability, and we want to do it together. We work with Intel to predict a machine downtime based on maintenance predictive. And our percentage of accuracy today is up to 95%. Maksud here, if I tell you your handphone, your SD card is going down in 3 hours, 2 minutes, and 5 seconds, 95% of the time I am correct. If tiba-tiba your car, you drive your car later, some funny sound, some funny voice, you don't know what is it. So what you do next? You send to the workshop. What the workshop people will tell you, I don't know what happened, I go to check. Preventive maintenance talks about, I tell you what's going on, what happened, and how will it happen. And it can be done because all the machine talks. Do you know all your machine talks? Your phone is talking all the time, you know. Serious, even you off your machine, you off your phone is talking. Keep sending data, keep sending a lot of things. So this is what we do. We capture the data, we understand the data, we formulate the data, then we give a picture out of it. That's what we do on predictive. Because when, just a human being, before you feel sick, before you feel fever, what is the first sign? Feel very tired, right? Tiba-tiba you feel very, very energetic. Tiba-tiba you don't feel like eating. Or tiba-tiba you feel like sleeping. So these are the signs of, machine going down, your body going down. It's the same thing with the machine. Machine do that better. Because the machine never lie. They just keep on telling and telling. So this is what we do. We actually get thousands of parameters from Intel in Penang and get the data and get the numbers crunched. From there, we actually understand, when is which machine going down at what time. And our accuracy now is 95%. It can be better for sure, right? This one I'll talk a bit because this is a very happy and sad case. This is something that we actually talked to the government about 3 years ago. They do not want to take because they don't believe Malaysia can do. They don't believe. They say, this one orang putih sekali boleh buat. Orang gelap-gelap macam tu tak boleh, tak mungkin. We went to Indonesia, we actually pick it up. So that's what we do. We started with Lampung. What they wanted to do is very easy. They just want to make sure their tourists come back. Do you know how many times have I been to KK? Me. Come on, how would you know? You wouldn't know, right? I also cannot remember. But if there's a way that you know how many times I come, how much do I spend, what do I like to buy, what do I like to do, where do I like to go, you can keep me. You can always have extend. The park that you went just now, 2 years ago, right? Now they have a new drink, a special discount for you to come back. Or the hotel that you used to stay, now they have a promotion. If you bring another friend, you get 50% or 55% discount. So this is how you keep your tourists to come back. Today we are touch and go. If you come, if you don't come, tak apa. You don't know what happened. Smart tourism talks about a connected community. You want to make sure that when the tourists come here, they are very, very easy. Once I land, I know what I want to do, what I want to eat, where I want to stay. But usually you do this before, right? You just book every single thing first. But next thing is you might want to encourage the tourists to go to some new tourism spot. What is the latest tourism spot in KK now, or in Sabah now? Is there any new one? Ada. Pantai ke, Gua ke, any? Ada. You also don't know. Then how you want to encourage me to come? You see, definitely somebody knows. I'm not saying you don't know, right? I'm just saying maybe you've forgotten. Definitely you have a new tourism spot that you want to promote. But my question is how you want to promote. Pakai billboard, tak jalan because people do not look at billboards. Pakai newspaper, very expensive and doesn't work anymore. So what are you going to do? Do a lot of promotion, but to whom? Smart tourism talks about ecosystem. Smart tourism talks about connected ecosystem, connected partner, connected people. Alright? So this is what we do with Indonesia. And we are still doing, we are going province by province. This is in China. This is another thing that we do in Korea. You see, that's a very funny thing. We are from Malaysia, we want to do for Malaysia, Malaysia don't want. See, you go outside. You go outside, you do elsewhere, then you come back. If you can, you are good, then we go for that. So, anyway, so what we did with this resort, it is an integrated resort. We handle every single thing from the offline to the online. From the booking, to the experience, to the buying, to the paying, to the departure, to the logistic, any single thing that you can imagine actually can be done through the web or through the app. Anyone here from tourism board? Thank you. Do we know the demography of tourists coming to Sabah every year? Laki ke perempuan ke umur? Agak-agak. Ada sikit-sikit lah. Usually we have that kind of information. But the problem is we agak-agak sahaja. If more, I just give a synopsis. If let's say more female like to come to KK, what should we do? Shopping. Very, very smart. What else? More shopping. What else? See, our pictures maybe, alright? So these are the things that you know you want to do. But if you do not know who is coming, what are you supposed to do? When the woman comes, do they also come with their husband? You come with the husband, it's a different story, you know. Then you have to have a lot of ATM, or you have to have a lot, a facility that they can withdraw money very, very easily. Am I right? If come with children, what do? You might want to do some recreation park for the children. So everybody can enjoy the city, everybody can enjoy the state. I love the Goa, I love the Bhutan, I also go to Bhutan places. But I'm the funny one, Not everybody like Bhutan. Not everybody like to see Bhutan, right? You can promote whatever you want to promote, but if you do not know who are you promoting to, you are wasting money. I'm not saying you, I'm saying everybody else. So the demography of the tourists is very important. You need to understand who are coming in, where are they going, where are they staying. If there's a new destination you want to promote, who you want to promote to? Perempuan ke, lelaki ke, umur berapa? So all this information are important. So smart tourism talks about the more data that I get, the easier I can make a decision, because my decision is going to be very precise. And when I do that, I can get the result pretty easily. When they engage, then we know. Yeah. So this is what we do in Korea. Jeju Island. It's called Jeju, right? Jeju. Smart hotel is connected. Oh, I have 1 minute. I'll speak. All these so-called ecosystem partners are connected. You can talk about smart travel and hospitality. You can talk about air pollution index monitoring. Interesting, huh? You know how toxic we are today, in air quality. So people stay in the house, then you can sell more. Then you can talk about also smart video analytics for the security. I think one of the areas that we always talk about is it a safe city? From here we can tell it's a very safe city. You can walk on the street, middle of the night, nobody can tell you. Those are the things that you want. So these are the things that technically technology can actually assist to support, right, to ensure that we meet our KPI. Yeah? What next? Oh, that's the end already. Just nice. You don't have to clap, it's okay. So if you have any questions, no, don't clap, I'm just joking. If you have any questions, you can ask. Usually I cannot talk about big data too technical, because first, I'm not technical myself. Second, if I'm too technical, you do not understand. Once you do not understand, you think I'm talking crap. Right? So I just want to make sure that we can be as human as possible when it comes to technology. Don't be worried about the technology. Technology today is very easy one, because you don't have to understand. Some people that are stupid enough, they'll understand one. They will do the job, you don't have to do the job. You just tell them what I want. Okay? Do you have any question? Ada soalan yang boleh saya jawab?
We have some gifts from Fusion X.
Yeah. Usually that's what happens now. Other gifts that people probably will ask some questions. No, joking. It's just a small little token from us. What is the average time frame for data analytics? Start to final. It's the learning, we call a journey for question number 1. When to start? Yesterday. When to end? No way. You cannot end one. Just like any one of us go, some of us go to do medical checkup once a year, right? Right? So when you do a medical checkup, the doctor tell you what high, what low, high, what low, what high, low, as usual. So that is only an indication of what happened now. So what you usually need to ask next, for example, cholesterol is high, or what should I do next, doctor? Or you need to do this, do that, right? So it's a continuation of learning. Just like any relationship, if you want to love somebody, tak kenal maka tak cinta, right? You have to know that person as much as you can before you can love him or her even more. So it's a journey. The more you know, the more you want to know. Never too late, never too early. Never end. Cannot end one. End means you are dead already. Sudah mati memang end lah. Right? It will not end. Okay? Second question. From my point of view, to support potential implement smart government successfully, or every government implement government very, very successfully. But our proposal is always go with the pillar first. Go with those pillars that you are most comfortable, most, to some extent, that you can see result the fastest. Smart tourism is one of them, because we do that all the time, right? I always ask people to come to visit KK, visit Sabah here, visit Sabah here, visit Sabah here. This is one of the areas that probably you want to think about. Because your return is very fast, you do it every day. Right? The other one is the fee collection agency. Right? For the agency, they're having a little bit of challenge without collecting fee. This is also another good avenue. I was talking to one of your friends just now. If you can make the so-called payment process a lot easier, people don't mind paying one. I give you my example. I'm a very careful driver, therefore I park my car simply. Right? I got fined, kena saman. I have to pay the bill, and that so-called state local authority, the other payment system one, I have to go to the office to pay. You know what happened? I got to drive, spend 25 minutes. I got to park, spend I think 550 ringgit. I got to walk because the other escalator, connected. I got to wait, go to the counter and ding ding ding. I got to press the bell, there's a bell. I got to ding ding ding, somebody came out and right. I paid 10 ringgit. You know how much time I spent? 1 hour. 1 hour, 10 ringgit, somehow I got to park. It's very, geram. I say, why don't you give me an app? You charge me 15 ringgit, but I pay because I was alarm and not pay, right? But you ask me to do all these things, I will not pay one. Would you? You won't. So if you make it easier, if you want to get people to pay, make their life easier lah. Don't make their life. I know you want to penalize them. I know you. Cikgu memang kena rotan dulu bukan. Baru budak tu boleh belajar. But today lain. You cannot rotan budak. You rotan budak tu, you kena one. They put on the YouTube. Wah, mati. Serious lah. So for any smart government initiative pillar, those are pillars that you can actually talk about, make customer experience, your rakyat experience better, easier, faster. Those are the ones that usually will be a little bit easier to be implemented. Question number 2.
No, the second question. Last question.
Last question already. Okay. This one. How can we work together to help Sabah implement smart village? Talk to us. Right? I have my number just now. That's the number that never sleeps. You can always text me. We are more than happy to work with state agency in implementing any of these projects. Don't look at big data, smart city as a big project. Yes, it is very big, but we start small. So the motto here is start small, think big. Big data cannot start big one. Big data start big, sure fail one. Guarantee fail one. Because everybody want to contribute. When everybody contribute, there is to start. So we start small. You start agency by agency, department by department, step by step. But very important is you have to have your own backbone. You have to have your own backbone because whatever you do after that, all the data need to come back to that backbone, and only then you can talk about smart. Kalau this smart shop sendiri sahaja itu bukan smart. My department very smart, but only your department. Other department not smart, the whole country is still not smart. Alright, so smart city or smart government is about the whole infrastructure. You have the luxury, you have your own backbones, you have your own whatever infrastructure you need to have, fully utilize that. So whatever the program that we are doing, we're just inputting data set into this backbone for us to do it better than next. That's all right? Okay. That's my number. Alright, if you are the very shy guy, you cannot call, you don't want to talk to me, it's okay, just text me. I will answer as much as I can. Yeah? That's all right? Okay, that's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Stanley, for the very insightful presentation just now. Please do contact him if you have any more questions. Okay, let's move on to our last presenter for this conference. From Kinabalu Kodes, please welcome Mr. Arthur Raymond.
Good afternoon, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Let me just take a moment to set this up first. Sebentar. Wait a moment, ladies and gentlemen, let me just get this thing big. Right, and check kalau ini working ke tidak. So ladies and gentlemen, I'm also going to walk around a bit, but I'll stay on stage lah. And memang my presentation will be bercampur aduk sikit dengan bahasa Malaysia juga. So just for your information, in case you need a copy of these slides, and slides ni ada banyak link dalam dia, you can actually check this thing, scan dia punya QR code, dia punya bit.ly link pun ada. So almost every slide has at least one link. So if you like to find out more about what we do, the projects that we do at Kinabalu Coders and so on, you can find all the links in the slides. Later, at the end of the presentation, I will also show the link again. So you can either scan it now or scan it later. You can do it anyway. So once again, thank you very much for having me here. We'll quickly run through what we're going through at Kinabalu Coders. So a little bit about myself. I won't go into this. I'm Arthur Raymond. I'm a co-founder of Kinabalu Coders, or by its real name, Persatuan Pengatur Cara dan Pembina ICT Sabah. I also work 9 to 5 or 9 to 6 as a project consultant at Digital Heritage Sendirian Berhad, and I've been in the Sabah IT business for the past 13, 15 years. Macam 13 tahun sudah. So I worked on some government projects, I worked on private projects, so got a pretty good view about how the industry works on this end. So the rest of it is social context. Sedikit sebanyak mengenai Kinabalu Coders, kami founded in 2014. Kami adalah akar umbi, the grassroots. Bukan politik punya akar umbi, kami technology dan maker. So bagi maker ni, maksud dia inventor. Inventors, people who do, people who make. So we are the tech and maker grassroots of Sabah. Tidak payah baca yang besar-besar ni di sini. Ini is all our communities and groups. Every single one of the blue things there are links. So if you're interested, let's say in Raspberry Pis, Arduino, robotics, kita bikin and so on, well, just feel free to download the slides, then you can click there. Those are links to their social media pages. So Kinabalu Coders ni bukan satu persatuan saja. Kami terdiri daripada 16 community yang lebih kecil, yang akar umbi punya. And in this scenario, different groups do different things. So today I just wakil Kinabalu Coders. Moving on, let's talk about the vague promises of data. I think you heard this the whole day today, and also mungkin saw this yesterday. What does data promise you? Well, as you can see here, data grants a competitive advantage. Tahu sudah kan? It gives you new, unlimited opportunities. It is the driver of change. And lastly, it improves the human condition. Lofty, kan? Tinggi, but vague. So let's begin from the beginning again and talk about data. What is data? I will tell you what data is. Saya rasa kamu tahu sudah apa data. I will tell you though that data is information about telling a story. And when you tell a story, bila kau pergi wayang, bila kau tengok movie, you expect the story to be logical. Bukanlah kau pergi wayang say, apalah movie ni, it's like tak munasabah pun. And then it must be rational. It must make sense. And finally, and ini yang paling penting pasal story, it must lead to a conclusion. Now this conclusion is mungkin story dia pasal burung gagak and its reflection, atau anjing dengan dia reflection. Sometimes the conclusion is a moral conclusion. It tells you jangan bikin ni, atau lebih bagus kau bikin ni. In the same way, data in terms of governance leads to these things as well. You use data for governance to tell a story, but that story has conclusions, and these are things like evidence-based policy making. Meaning that you say, banyak orang juga datang pergi tengah-tengah KK. Lebih baik kami kasih pertingkatkan dengan infrastruktur di tengah-tengah KK. Or mungkin they say, hey, the airport looks crowded. Maybe we should increase the size of the airports. Or maybe you are at a village and say, banyak orang komplain tiada air atau tiada air bersih. So let's clean up that area there. The other thing is, this is a lofty goal juga. When you talk about data for governance, it's supposed to strengthen democracy and trust. How does it strengthen this? Through transparency, through verification, through the ability to audit. This means kami sahaja sebagai agencies, companies, kami bukan boleh pegang tu data satu-satu orang saja. A lot of people must have access to data. And lastly, with all of this in mind, when you talk about data for governance, it is a driver of economic prosperity. Now, if you want to know more about this, ada link tu juga. Sana yang this is actually from the Royal Statistical Society of the United Kingdom, their data manifesto that was published in 2014. So now that you know a bit about data for governance, let's talk about the problems with data di Sabah ini. Ini simple je, semua keywords only. So, number one, biasanya data tu hilang, is missing, atau it's inconsistent. Mungkin dia orang submit 3-4 bulan sudah. Setahu bahkan, saya pun also mau submit data, saya pun malas. So sometimes 3-4 bulan tidak submit, then baru submit. Other than that, data is isolated. We have the problem of data silos, meaning mungkin agency A tak mau share dengan agency B dan sebagainya. So kena silo. The third one, data can be inaccurate. Sometimes they are terbiased. I bukan say orang yang bias, tapi mungkin ada orang bikin survey. Survey itu kena isi salah. Atau si statistics yang data scientist yang dikata-kata dia nampak, dia tersalah calculate. So, dia punya data terbias sikit. So, beyond that, most of the time the data we find is outdated or obsolete. And lastly, and this one memang sabar punya awak lah, we have a problem with the service itself. Sometimes there are service errors. Meaning kau pergi website, alah, website down, network down. Kenapa? Banjir. Atau dia kena putus dia punya fiber optic dan sebagainya. So these problems are not unique to Sabah, but they more or less tell us what's wrong with our data. Not just state. We talk about commercials, Malaysia pun sama. So without further ado, we are actually going to go to one place that everybody's been talking about, data.gov.my. Ini is run by Mampu, kawan-kawan saya juga. So I think everybody ada tengok dia punya booth di luar. You should go to Mampu and you should find out more about data.gov.my because penting ni, ini data terbuka. So what I've done is, or what we at KC has done, kami bikin sedikit analisa di data.gov.my. So pertama sekali kami cuba search by state. Berapa banyak data set di dalam Mampu? They say they have 4,157 data set kan? So kami carilah by state. And it turns out, ini statistics dia. Kalau ikut negeri, ini saja daripada 4,157 data set. Ingat, Sabah rendah 83 saja. Tapi we're in the top 3. So this is actually bad, not just for Sabah. It is bad for all of Malaysia. This means kebiasaan dia, state agencies are not submitting. Only federal agencies are submitting. So only 20% of the data set, kalau kumpulkan semua, is actually state specific. Now, kami ambil yang 83 tu, kami pecahkan sekali lagi. So now, we know siapa tu yang agency tu yang 83 submission tu. So you can see here, the top submitter is the Ministry of Women, Family and Community Development. Ada juga JPKN sini. Ada laser kali, I show you where JPKN is. Ini dia, JPKN. Oh, tidak dapat. JPKN is, ada satu submission. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 from the bottom. 5th from the bottom. Bagus juga, nasib baik JPKN submit. So, looking at this, you notice that submission for the state government of Sabah is low. Top 3, tapi masih rendah. And in case you're wondering, betulkah ni? I've given you the link at the bottom is the link to the code I used to extract the data from data.gov.my. So you can actually check the code out later in the slides. Let's pecahkan sekali lagi. Let's check bila dia punya submissions berlaku. So, on the left, 2016. On the right, 2018. Dipecahkan ikut bulan. So now you can see, actually tadi di Ministry of Women, Family and Community Development, they did a really big submission in April 2018. Tapi dia orang pun tidak konsisten. After that, they stopped submitting. You can see the Ministry of Agriculture, second line, dia submit sekali saja di 2017, tapi tak submit selepas tu. So, an ideal view of this is setiap bulan ada submission. Even better kalau multiple submissions dalam satu bulan. The problem is, tahap pengumpulan data kami and tahap big data kami masih rendah. But this is something yang boleh diperbaiki. And bukan just diperbaiki dari segi servis kerajaan, tapi juga dari segi community. Because this is where people like us, KC, Kinabalu Coders, an NGO, may be able to assist in things like this. So, let's go to another case study. This one yang close to our hearts lah, yang Sabah punya. Tadi kami cakap pasal air pollution index. So let's talk about haze. So this is something very interesting actually. Let me kembali kepada kisah masa zaman silam. But sebelum tu, pasal haze ni, just a bit of information about the Department of Environment. If kamu pergi apim.gov.my, ini adalah Air Pollutants Index of Malaysia, servis dia orang. Sabah has 5 monitoring stations, Sarawak 12, nationwide 65. So daripada 5 station ini, dia orang menganggap apa dia punya IPU, Index Pollutant or Index Pencemaran Udara atau API, Air Pollution Index. Now we kembali zaman silam, 2016. A quote from Malaysia Kini. So this might be the first time you see Malaysia Kini being presented in a presentation. Back then, in 29 August 2016, the then head of the DOE stated that actually pembacaan API kami is 24 jam, is purata 24 jam, bukan real time, bukan itu saja. It's actually 24 hours record. This means ada masalah ni, which I will demonstrate later. The second thing is, the API in Malaysia is calculated dengan standard PM10. Yang nombor ni 10 maksudnya micron. So to give you an idea, PM10 ni setebal rambut. PM2.5, not setebal rambut. PM10 ni is 1/10, I think, of your hair diameter. And PM2.5 is a quarter of that. So this means the measurement PM10 is 10 micron. PM2.5 is 2.5 micron. So let's look, what is the problem with the 24 hours average? And ini memang kena kritik tu in 2016, heavily kritik. Let's say lah, ini adalah bacaan sebenar untuk API, second column. Ini adalah purata dia, ikut jam. And ini adalah rating sekiranya tiada purata. You will see right now, at 1 PM, when the air quality degrades to actually very unhealthy, the mere moving average just says the air quality is moderate. This is why di tahun 2016, tahun 2017, when you see the API, you nampak, berjerubu betul. Tapi look outside, nampak API macam the API bercanggah dengan what you see outside. This is because if you take 24-hour purata, kalau dia API dia naik dalam masa 1 jam, it will not show in the 24-hour average dari DOE. So bukan saya kritik DOE. What I'm critiquing right now is the methodology of what they're doing. Actually, 24-hour averages are bad in this scenario. Lebih baik real time kan? If you see from the graphs ini, betul kan? Boleh nampak. So you may take this as an example. There are many scenarios where when we do averaging, yes, averaging is useful. Bikin purata tu bagus tu. But there are certain cases, especially for certain kinds of time series data, tak bagus. So this is why you should do this. Now, and this is a funny part. Kalau kau pergi apims.gov.my and check the FAQ, betul juga. Julai 2018, dia orang masih guna PM10 sahaja, bukan PM2.5, even though they promised 2 tahun dulu. And yes, they are still only using 24 hours moving averages. So this is just for your information. So now that you've seen these case studies, here's one more. This one is more fun. On May 2nd, 2018, the Edge Market published an article, infographic. And actually, here's the thing. Memang this is before the general election. So I guess the Edge may have had an agenda. But I'll note one thing. Ini adalah May 2nd, 2018. Tapi data yang digunakan is dari tahun 2016. Dari Department of Statistics Malaysia. Kenapa? Because Department of Statistics belum lagi published 2017. So think about this. The data that was used in a news report in 2018 was actually from 2016. This is a bad idea. Why is it? Is it Malaysia is that slow in getting data out? Slow down making survey and so on. So again, I'm not critiquing the work, but I'm pointing out this is the problem with our data, which sometimes is missing, incomplete, sometimes they are lambat and so on. So these are things that we must solve moving forward in order to become a modern-facing society. Oh, by the way, also that's the worst map of East Malaysia ever. Belum betul dia orang guna dalam the edge. Official. Notice kan? Kau nampak macam ada dua mulut tu sana di Sabah. So this is one of the issues. Okay, now you see ini pun is a data problem. Kenapa tiada tempat dia orang boleh pergi copy paste the Sabah map masuk dalam dunia awal? Instead guna macam ni macam hand drawn punya. So okay lah, kami proceed. Kami about halfway through the presentation sudah, saya cepat-cepat sikit. So now, what we want to say from the community, this is the right time for data. Why is it the right time for data? Is because, number one, there's demand for raw data. As my colleague has mentioned previously, my friend over there, hardware is cheap, software is accessible, there is strength in numbers, and there's a shared vision. So what does this mean? I'll go through one by one, because this is a bit also about what KC does, Kinabalu Coders does. First, there's demand for raw data. Now that I've shown you the case studies, certainly you would also understand, or you can see, why we need raw data. Bukan yang kena purata, bukan yang kena proses, bukan yang kena transform, tapi raw data supaya kami boleh verify, audit sendiri, dan bikin analisa sendiri. In fact, one guy, his name is Rufus Pollock from the Open Data Foundation, in 2007, put a blog post into India that said, give us the data raw and give it to us now. This is what we actually need to do. We must get raw data out there in the hands of the public, in the hands of people who can use it. Now, there's a corollary to this. Corollary is berkaitan, is that kalau tu data tiada, memang orang akan cari jalan penyelesaian tu. Even if the data doesn't exist, we'll figure out a way to get it. Bukan saya cakap kami hack lah, kami bukan hack dalam sistem, tapi kami nampak website, kami tariklah data dari website kalau ada. So, now that you see the demand for raw data, let's go on to the next point. Hardware is cheap. I think everybody knows, atau mungkin pernah nampak Robonio sudah, yang anjuran KC-nya. Ini tahun kelima sudah kami akan bikin the Robonio. But the point why I'm showing this is because hardware is cheap now. Now you have Raspberry Pis and Arduinos and so on. They're either free or cheap. And because they're free or cheap, it's very easy to go and do this or what. See, pocket saya ada banyak benda ni. Free, cheap, and portable. Nanti ada Raspberry Pi training for question and answer sessions. So, cheap Raspberry Pis make it easy now for hardware. And now, as what my friend has mentioned earlier as well, local individuals and groups, kami bikin sensor sendiri sudah. Tak payah bayar yang mahal-mahal punya. Kami bikin sensor sendiri. Now, software is also accessible. Why? Because coding and programming now sudah masuk school syllabus. And we've done plenty of training across Sabah for things like Python coding on Raspberry Pi and so on and so forth. Don't forget, open source has won. In 2016, Microsoft sued the giant Linux Foundation. Why is this important? Because now, innovation can be shared. Bukan juga proprietary, bukan satu syarikat atau satu organisation yang simpan innovation. Innovation can be shared with everybody. And lastly, the cloud, macam Google, macam Aliyun dan sebagainya, is here and is going to stay. And sekarang, kalau mau set up data center, berjuta-juta lah mau, kalau physical data center. But you want to do a cloud-based data center, $100, $200 a month. It's cheap. So now, cloud services, be it hardware or software services, are a fraction of the cost of conventional data centers. Moving on, we have strength in numbers. So these are like some of the events that we do with either schools or kami ada bikin deployment at Pulau Gaya, so we work together at SMK Pulau Gaya. At the bottom right is our global game jam, di mana semua orang gather bikin game dalam Unity. So looking at the strength in numbers, we're not just talking about people, we're also talking about sensors. When hardware is cheap, when software is accessible, let's say tadi kamu nampak yang DOE, 5 sensors saja, but we can create 50 sensors. cheaper than the DOE. Mungkin DOE guna sensor mahal, RM1,000, RM2,000. Tapi sensor kami, for let's say, for these kind of things, might be RM50, RM200. So let's say dengan RM1,000 untuk beli satu sensor, kami boleh bikin 5 sensor. So when I talk about strength in numbers, I'm not just talking about people. I'm talking about the total number of sensors we can deploy. So here are some examples. Ada SMK Pulau Gaya, ini weather station. Boleh nampaklah. Kalau pergi Pulau Gaya sana, you will see the weather station yang ada di sana. Another one is, this one is SKC Anglo-Chinese. Dia orang guna Arduino untuk bikin mushroom growing. Dia sudah jual dengan PIBG dia orang. So they teach their students how to grow mushrooms. Tapi untuk mengawal kelembapan dalam bilik tu, dia guna Arduino dan humidity sensor dan juga smart switch. So they actually grow pretty good mushrooms. Lastly, all of this, kami ada one shared vision. Because I will tell you right now that machine learning, blockchain, smart factories, Internet of Things, everything you've heard in the past 1.5 days will be the data consumers and producers of this, what we call Industry 4.0. But still here in Sabah, we must fill in the gaps in terms of skills, technology, and culture. What does this mean? Coming to the last part, here's an introduction to some of our community data projects. 3 examples, then macam boleh siap sudah this whole thing. So, let's talk about smart cities, electricity, and environment. First up, we have hi-fi.my. Just how we talked about, or you heard about crowd analysis for the tourism board and so on. What if I told you technology tu dah ada? It's been here in Sabah for 2 years and KC yang bikin. So, not kami bikin lah, we implemented one platform. We'll be happy to lend it to the tourism department kalau dia orang mau scan berapa banyak orang masuk di airport. In fact, we've been trying to work about this for quite some time. Because, think about this, let's talk about connecting the dots of data. Kamu install ni, pergi sana airport, supaya kamu boleh nampak orang keluar masuk di airport. Now, kalau let's say DBKK, dia orang ada citywide wifi kan, memang dia tahu whose device pergi ulang-alik dalam tu citywide wifi juga. What if we combine the data between what tourism sees, what DBKK sees? Wouldn't that create more data, more useful data to see? Oh, orang masuk airport, di mana dia pergi di KK? This is the start. The hi-fi.my was an award-winning project in 2016 under UNDP Big Ideas. It was developed by our Raspberry Pi group here in Sabah. And we've been running this at 15 sites right now in Kota Kinabalu, including UTC Sabah, yang sana Taman Hikmat sana, dekat-dekat sana. So, we use this data to calculate berapa banyak orang keluar, berapa banyak orang masuk, berapa lama dia orang stay, and so on. And it is based on a Raspberry Pi. So, that's example number 1. Example number 2, ini special juga, karan.sabah.io. Bagi orang Sabah tahu-tahu lah, every time ada paukat, mau cek SESB, dia punya Facebook page. So we created a website yang menarik data daripada Facebook SESB dan kemudian memaparkan dia semula di atas website yang bernama karan.sabah.io ini. Dan bukan setakat itu saja, bukan just notis pemotongan, dia juga bikin graf yang purata, berapa lama dia punya paukat, berapa lama dia punya response time dan sebagainya. So this is something that we're running and data set dia pun ada. Now, cukup sekejap. So when you think about this, current, okay lah, kami monitor current, but there's more data here because setiap kali ada notis pemotongan, biasanya SESB, our power generator, will list down kawasan mana yang kena potong. So what if we took that data and start mapping the data with other services macam GeoNames, GPU, Jabatan Tanah dan Ukur, semua ni public data, Wikimapia, Google Maps, geocoding, and karan.sabah.io. So we figured out we could extract the geolocation data for each of these sites. So this is more interesting. Kalau kami gabungkan all this data, cross-index there, we get this. We have 8,433 cross-index geopoints of locations in Sabah. Ini adalah perumahan, sekolah, dan sebagainya. In fact, untuk Post Malaysia, mungkin berguna ni data. We could work, let's say, with Post Malaysia. Why don't we fuse the data together sekali lagi, cross-index semula. So out of this, we have 59% of primary data, geolocation data yang tak ada di database lain. Not even Jabatan Tanah dan Ukun, not public databases like Wikimedia and Google. And now this database, we give back to the community. You can actually get a copy of this database, one in free, ini semua community punya, tak jual pun. So if you like access to this, let us know, we'll give you access to this database. Now that you've seen the meta-analysis of current.sabah.io, let's go back a bit, step back, something simpler. We also are running haze.sabah.io. Ingat DOE tadi? Right. So, sebab ada PM 2.5 monitoring, so we bought this sensor, RM200 saja. It's a PM 2.5 sensor, which is very small, runs on a Raspberry Pi, and we monitor the air quality sana KK dekat Wisma Bandaraya. Kalau kami pindah, mungkin lain tempat lah. But if you go to haze.sabah.io right now, you get real-time air quality data. So this is one step above what DOE is doing right now lah. Now, imagine bukan kami saja yang bikin. What if, because dalam Sabah ni, I think ada 800, 1,000 lebih sekolah, what if 10% of these schools bikin ni sebagai projek kecil for their students? Then from this, you have 80 to 100 sensors in Sabah for a fraction of the price of the actual sensors themselves. Think about it. Then we can do monitoring all across Sabah, bukan setakat 5 sites saja. And we can submit this data back to the DOE, we can submit this data back to open data. So here's an example. If you like to have the haze report, you can also go to camera.sabah.io, which is a live feed of KK, and di sebelah bawah kanan sana, there will be the haze report there as well. Setiap hari, this video is uploaded di YouTube. So we now have a tracking record of the API levels for every day in Sabah. So, and with that, I will come to my summary. This is satu slide saja, lepas ni sudah, thank you. So, this is about data culture. I want to tell you that all of us were waiting for Industry 4.0. Kami menunggu. I'll tell you, forget about Industry 4.0. Actually, don't forget. But remember that before you reach Industry 4.0, we must have a data culture. But this revolution is already here in Sabah. And it starts first with raw data in terms of collection, open data policy, and addressing the sharing and security problem. I won't go in depth into this, but that link up there for open data policy is a handbook that will help you get started. And if you'd like to start a conversation with Kinabalu coders or any other agencies, why not? Let's start a conversation about how we can evaluate and do open data policies with you. The second thing is, we would like to present future, ini coming soon, data.sabah.io. Apa? IO ni, input, output. So yeah, data.sabah.io. If we can find a place, we can work with data.gov.my. But maybe for Sabah, if masih segan, tidak mau share dulu, why not start small? Let's begin sharing and indexing our own data sources with microservices and APIs. So the last item is, don't forget, the grassroots exists. And in Sabah, kami special sikit. Because of so many communities that we have, right? If you need some help, we're here to help out. Not to say that they won't be cost or anything, but grassroots, kami 100% volunteer. Kami bikin ni because they're fun. Yeah, memang, because it's fun. Because kami keboringan. So these are the things that actually we would like to also help the state government. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. I think Q&A time. Ada soalan? Ada kami terus di kahut tu dan semua boleh pergi makan. Pasal cadangan, the first question lah, cadangan KC untuk menggalakkan perkongsian data ni, sebenarnya actually ini bergantung kepada agensi. The main problem dengan data sekarang is orang sentiasa ingat, data yang saya mau share ni semua personal dan private, macam salary data, wage data. It depends on the agency. Because let's say your environmental agency, semua tu public bah. Let's say kamu ada satu komen dari Mampu tadi, like let's say you're running station kereta api. Tu jadual tu is not private kan, it's public. So data yang memang kamu sudah post sana notice board is data you can release to the public. You don't have to say that every data by default in the government is private. Memang dia data yang kena lekat sana notice board is data you should be sharing in a machine readable format. So dia mungkin merupakan jadual, infografik dan sebagainya. Tapi yang penting dia is bentuk data tersebut. Jangan just share yang kena proses sudah. Kalau kamu boleh share to source data yang raw untransformed data, lagi bagus. So actually that's what you can kenal pasti. So you just kena screen lah, habis dia raw data sama ada personal info kan, ada IC kan, ada nama kan. When these things are not there, these are the forms of data you can share. Oh, bagaimana menjadi aplikasi? Well, actually boleh join mana-mana community sahaja. But if there's an easy way, if you want to chat with us directly, pergi saja data.sabah.io yang dilihat tadi. Di sana sekarang tidak ada data, tapi ada link. Link tu boleh masuk chat kami, our community chat. Our community chat is all our communities di Sabah, atau cari kami di Facebook page kami, Kinabalu Coders. Cari saja Facebook, and you can go ahead and actually chat with us on Kinabalu Coders. Untuk join kami, senang saja. Join our communities, not Kinabalu Coders. Because Kinabalu Coders is yang 15 ketua community yang masuk Kinabalu Coders, dan dia orang yang run their own activities and events. How feasible it is to replace the PC? Kalau tanya saya, this one jangan take as professional work lah. I feel that if you're doing clerical work only, especially for front desk staff, Raspberry Pi memang boleh digunakan untuk mengganti frontline areas macam reception dan sebagainya. In fact, if Sabanet di luar, dia orang pun main video on their screen guna Raspberry Pi. So a lot of these front-end systems, right, that require minimal human contact, actually boleh guna Raspberry Pi. And you can also use Raspberry Pis as cheaper nodes to do data processing in your company. Dia macam server kecil, tak payah screen, masuk je network. Dia lambat, dia lemah, tapi you can just leave it there 1-2 tahun dia masih run. Tadi camera.sabah.io, just to let you know, dia telah berfungsi 24 jam, 7 hari, 365 atau 66 hari untuk 3.5 tahun. The same Raspberry Pi. Setiap hari dia upload 80,000 gambar to the internet. Has never crashed except when SSD potong power lah. So that's how reliable Raspberry Pis are. You can use them as mini servers. Bukan say ganti semua, tapi there are certain parts where you can ganti. So, ladies and gentlemen, before I close, the link to the slides are there again for the QR code. And with that, I'd like to thank you for your time and wish you a very good lunch. Thank you very much for JPK and also for having me here. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, Mr. Arthur. Now we move on to Kahoot.
Ada Raspberry Pi ni, saya ada 3, bagi lah dia.
Top 3 will win the Raspberry Pi. Minit lagi. Okay, ready semua? We're ready at 3, 2, 1, start. Delta is come on stage, Zeri, Melton, and Azri, to receive your raspberry pie. Thank you so much for the participation. Untuk meneruskan majlis penutupan, saya ingin menjemput rakan saya, Encik Roslan Jafar.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh dan salam sejahtera. Okay, saya akan teruskan acara kita yang seterusnya. Acara kita seterusnya yaitu penyerahan cenderahati kepada pembentang-pembentang kertas persidangan kita pada hari ini. Jadi dengan itu terlebih dahulu saya ingin menjemput yang berbahagia Datuk Dr. Haji Minggu bin Haji Jumaan, Pengarah Jabatan Perkhidmatan Komputer Negeri Sabah, untuk naik ke atas pentas bagi menyampaikan cenderahati. Majlis mempersilakan. Dijemput ceramah yang pertama yaitu Encik Andy Roysian. Dimohon untuk pencerahan terus berada di atas pentas bagi bergambar grup selepas inilah. Seterusnya menjemput Encik Rodney Lee dan Encik Evan Low. Mungkin dia berada di pameran. Seterusnya saya jemput Encik Muhammad Syahbani bin Muhammad Zahir daripada pejabat pos. Ini saja pejabat pos. Seterusnya saya jemput Encik Stanley. Okey, dan yang terakhir Encik Arthur Ken Raymond. Okay, terima kasih kepada penceramah-penceramah dan seterusnya dimohon untuk yang berbahagia Datuk terus berada di pentas untuk membuat cabutan tiket bertuah. Kita ada cabutan ketika orang tua yang kira grand lah, 4 cabutan. Jadi kita akan mulakan. Tuan-tuan dan teman-teman boleh melihat nomor masing-masing. Kita akan cabut yang pertama dahulu. Yang pertama, satu-satu.
Apa? Apa nomornya? Jangan. Mana yang kena itu dalam Facebook kah? Mana yang kena itu dalam Facebook? Facebook kan? Facebook. Mana nomor itu sudah? Berkemarin bukan? Siapa yang datang kemarin ada nomor? Kami ada nomor.
Oke, nomor yang pertama 084. Oke, saya ulangi 084. Ya, kita kira sampai 3. 084 1 084 2 0843. Kita cabut nomor yang baru. Ya, nomor seterusnya dia berikut ya. Tadi 084, yang sekarang 085. Ya, ada. Kalau tidak kita kita kira sampai 3 lah. 0851 0852 0853. Oke, cabut lagi. Oke, nomor yang bertua seterusnya itu 1 1 4 114. Tiada. Oke, saya kira sampai 3. 1141 1142 1143. Oke. Oke, nomor seterusnya 025. 025. Ada? Oke, 0251 kira 0252 0253. Oke. Ramai sudah balik. Oke, nomor seterusnya 033. 033 ada. Akhirnya. Oke, hadiah ini berupa makan malam di Shangri-La, Tajan Shangri-La, Tanjung Resort and Spa untuk 2 orang. Jadi bolehlah bawa siapa-siapa, saya pun boleh. Ini saya punya best friend dulu waktu di apalah Jepang, Tuan Joseph. Oke, sebutan seterusnya. Oke, nomor seterusnya 13. Ada 138. 138. Oh.
Dokter yang kena.
Kan dia 1381
Oi,
Okey, 138. Ya, hadir ini juga merupakan makan malam di Cafe Tatu. Okey. Cafe Tatu Shangri-La Resort. Sinilah Tanjung Resort dan Spa. Okey, caputan yang kedua terakhir sebelum kepada grand. Okey, 1, 2, 4. Ada 1, 2, 4. Okey. Hadiah berupa Samsung Galaxy Tab A saja daripada Sabahnya.
Protokol.
Okey, cabutan yang terakhir iaitu hadiah berupa Chromebook daripada Excel. Jadi cabutan yang terakhir siapa yang dapat?
Kadalah. Ini kan nomor. Wah, inilah.
09. Ada 09. Boleh berdiri sudah. Mungkin satu orang yang 09. Okey, 09. 1. Ada. Okey. 091 ada satu. Macam 019 ni. Okey, okey ngam.
Sampai aku terlupa kamera.
Tahniah kepada pemenang dan terima kasih kepada yang berbahagia Datuk. Okey, dengan ini maka berakhirlah sudah persidangan CIO Agensi Kerajaan Negeri Sabah bagi tahun 2018. Okey, untuk makluman bagi yang terlibat dengan mesyuarat CIO pada petang ini, mesyuarat akan diadakan di Dewan ini juga tepat pukul 2 petang. Jadi dengan itu kita menjemput semua untuk ke jamuan makan tengah hari di tempat kemarin. Jadi jam 2 kita akan berkumpul di Dewan ini untuk mesyuarat. Dengan itu saya akhiri dengan sekian. Terima kasih.
Banyak barang.
Siapa nama yang tadi itu tanya